So, like I said, with this podcast, we're trying to listen to your guys' stories. So, the first question I have for you: who got you into the wrestling room? Because, in my opinion, wrestling is the hardest sport to do in high school. So, we'll start with you, brother.
Um, I got
Also, I just realized this too. This is how much I've been out of this. Introduce your guys' selves and say your year that you guys are in school right now.
okay, Sergio Macias. I'm a sophomore at Sahuarita High School right
Just got second in state. He's an absolute stud.
Richard Sonori, I'm also a sophomore in high school.
Cool. And we'll go back to the question now. Like, who the heck got you into the wrestling room?
now. Yeah, so I got into wrestling kind of on my own in fifth grade. I was a big football kid, and
Okay.
then from then on, I always heard like, if you're a great wrestler, you're a great football player. If
Yeah.
you're a great football player, you're a great wrestler.
So the guy that owns Jet, that's how he was. He was a football player, but also did wrestling as well.
Yeah, so that's how I got into it.
What was like the main difference you felt from being on the football field compared to the wrestling mats?
The main difference for me was the feeling I got after I won.
Okay, which one feels better? Which feels better, pinning someone or cracking someone like crazy?
To me, pinning someone, because
Yeah.
like, to pin someone, you got to be face to face, you know, um, for the amount of period of time that you're with them on the mat to
Yeah.
pin them. But football, you could crack anyone at any time.
Yeah.
You know, look
There's
at
a little bit
them,
more skills
Yeah.
that go with it.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit more dangerous when you have someone standing in front of you.
Yeah, and
versus when you're not.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you started with freestyle?
No, I started with folk style.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
What academy, what club?
I started with Paul at Wrightson Ridge Middle School.
Wrightson Ridge. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into that with him because I know that he was a middle school teacher over there for a while, right?
Yeah.
And the coach.
So that's where I started.
Cool. I mean, that's kind of cool to kind of grow up with him in a
Yeah,
way.
he's been a big part of my life, especially in wrestling.
Heck yeah. What about you, brother? How did you get into having cauliflower ear?
I also started with Paul in fifth grade at Wrightson. But, I mean, I did jiu-jitsu before and stuff.
Oh, where you do
so-
jiu-jitsu at?
Yeah, Undisputed South.
Oh, come on, man. You got to hit up Irie or... So Irie is a sponsor of the show as well. So if you want to make the switch, that would help us out, knowing that we're promoting them.
I mean, it was definitely an experience. You know, I wanted to get better at something, do something. So, you know, saw wrestling and I was like, try it out.
Yeah.
And,
So this is when you're in fifth grade or sixth grade?
fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Yeah.
Okay. How tough was it for both you guys walking into the wrestling room for the first time? Because I started with jiu-jitsu, and my dad and his brother, they've been in the wrestling world forever. So I went in thinking like, it might be pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I got my ass kicked. So I know like we always talk about the first 2 months, you're losing a lot. How did you guys get past that? Or maybe you just won every single match from the start.
For me, I don't know. I can't speak for both of us, but I say for me because we were the youngest in the room.
Yeah.
Fifth graders was the lowest you can compete, and there was only like 3 of us. So just going in, seeing everyone else was older, knowing other kids have wrestled before.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of scary, but after I won, like from my first win to my first loss, like after I won, I was like, I want to pursue this. Like I enjoy that feeling.
After the first match?
Yeah. My first match I had won.
Oh,
So
dang.
then-
Dude, there's a study that shows that you have a better chance of hitting a grand slam your first game in baseball than pinning someone or winning your first wrestling match ever.
Really? Yeah.
So
No.
I don't know if you know baseball, but that odds aren't likely.
No. Yeah. I do. I played baseball a few times when I was little, but no. Yeah, I was the first win for Wrightson as their wrestling team.
Oh yeah, because the middle school was brand new, right?
Yeah, and so I was first win. That was my first win, and I didn't get any better feeling.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to pursue it, and then even after a loss, the loss feeling made me want to keep pursuing it. There was just something about the growth.
This is gonna sound bad, but it gets to the point where it's almost like a drug.
Yeah, it is.
You're in the middle of it, and you're like, why am I doing this? But then you're like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing.
Yeah, and it was, and it didn't matter if I was getting beat up every day at practice. I was looking for that another win.
Yeah.
To feel that feeling again. So
Awesome.
that's what kept me.
It's
going.
euphoria, man.
Yeah.
Like the feeling you get from just basically beating the crap out of someone. There's no other better feeling than that.
Yeah.
What about you, brother? Let's talk about this. What happened your first match ever? And hopefully you got a good story too.
I don't even know. I don't remember that, but I don't know if I would remember that. I definitely did not win. I know that.
Yeah.
But, it was just like that feeling like of adrenaline just going through your veins, just like, like I can do this. You know, I got it. I got it in me to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I've always had that resilience within me too. Just, you know, even if I'm losing, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Just keep fighting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, how did you do your freshman year? Because we talked about it. You got fifth in state this year.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about your freshman year.
Freshman year. Well, I played JV football to start, and you
Yeah.
know that I don't think that helped very much, but
Yeah.
I get into the season. You know, I start like slow. I mean, I get my win, my first high school win.
Yeah.
And then, you know, going through the season, kind of, I'd say I did pretty good the first month and a half, maybe. Kind of pinned my way through tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we go to I think New Mexico, get my first loss. You know, I did not take that well. So,
Yeah.
and then, you know, fast forward, we're going through. I get to the state tournament and I take sixth. So I mean, that was
Yeah.
like.
So you had improvement, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you're a freshman year, you're placing. That's so incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how about you? How did you do your freshman year?
Freshman year was definitely the year where wrestling pivoted for me, where it would just kind of dropped. Um, I wrestled from fifth grade all the way till, well, from fifth grade my freshman year, and every year I done well. Um, and towards getting into my freshman year, messed up my shoulder, and I was out for like half the season, beginning of my freshman year, so I didn't come back until probably January.
Yeah. What happened to your shoulder?
I tore my rotator cuff and I tore my UCL.
Oh shit. So did you have surgery on that?
No, I didn't have to have surgery. I was just out.
What was so one of the things I want to do with this podcast is like I'm someone that had 13 months of rehab for my shoulder. I tore my labrum and rotator cuff.
Yeah.
What was your mindset of how do you get through that? Because I'm guessing you had to go through some rehab process.
Yeah, no,
Probably had some days.
yeah.
Like for me, the toughest thing was trying to curl a 5-pound weight and barely getting halfway and just seeing like, yo, I used to be strong. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, after that, it definitely hit me hard because I was going in freshman year like I could be a state champ. I know I could win it. I was very confident in myself.
Yeah.
Then I kind of got hurt and I stopped. I couldn't even really lift. So the rehabilitation was just like more. It was more mental for me because I was getting my strength back and everything well. Everything was working fine, but I just didn't think like there'd be times mid practice where I'd be like, dang, shoulder's hurting me. Or a match where I'd be like, my shoulder would just give out on me.
Yeah, and it fucks with you too because like your mind's more worried about what's going on with your shoulder. Like I know when I played my whole freshman year with the torn labrum.
Oh.
And then for the first half of it, I was always worried. I'm like, 'cause I didn't know if it was torn yet. I was always worried. I'm like, is this going to be the swing where it goes out?
Yeah.
Because it screws with you mentally bad.
No, yeah, it really does. And so that had hit me. Definitely trying. I was just, and this was in the beginning of the school year. So wrestling season's third quarter. So I had about 2 months to try to get as well as I could. And I wasn't ready before wrestling season. So I missed like the first 2 months of wrestling season.
Yeah.
I came back and I was doing well, dual-wise and tournament-wise. But then once we hit that state tournament, I still felt that pressure on myself to win. I still thought I could. To this day, I think I could have done better than what I did. I didn't even end up placing. I went 1 and 2.
Yeah. So what changed, bro? Like, cause getting second in state, that's still incredible.
Yeah.
What were the differences you made, not only physically but also mentally as well?
Physically, well, I can say like leading up to the state tournament this year, I was up like 6 in the morning, not only practicing physical things, but 6 in the morning to like 7. It's just spiritual, mental battles I was working on. And 7, I was doing anything I could, whether it's a run, a jog, a walk, to try to prepare. Because I knew I did not want to go into the state tournament this year, same result.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted something more. And I didn't care also this year. Not that I didn't care, but I didn't care if I won. I cared if I didn't perform my best.
Yeah.
So I came in trying
controlling the controllables.
Yeah, doing what I could, and I cared more about how I did each match versus how I did at the end.
Yeah.
Last match, and so that's kind of what changed for me.
Dude, that's the great thing about wrestling because it prepares you for life almost.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, you guys ever seen those videos of Save Wrestling 2020? There's like highlights of people just saying like the world's like wrestling.
Yeah.
You're always gonna have someone trying to knock out your legs, and I'm sure like, what do you do when someone's trying to knock out your legs?
Defend.
I hope you put an elbow in their head.
Yeah. Push back.
That's it. I mean, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So right before we start wrapping your guys' segment up, let me ask you, what's your routine like just getting ready for state during the season, brother? Kind of like how he talked about like early runs. Like, how do you get prepared?
Well, first thing I do when I wake up every morning, ask ask God for strength, throughout
Awesome.
the day, get my blood flowing,
Nice.
keep me in a good spirit, and definitely watch my diet too. I feel like that's a big thing for me.
Weight cutting.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and even like leading up to 2 weeks out, I need to stay disciplined for this amount of time, and then when we get into it, I have the energy to go, perform.
Awesome. So let me ask you guys this: once the season's over, what's the first thing you all eat? This is a fun one.
Fruity Pebbles was the first thing I ate.
Bro, out of all the things you could eat is Fruity Pebbles.
Well, it's because we went back to the hotel. But restaurant wise, I think where did I go? I think it was like Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop.
Buffalo. I'm good with wings. That sounds a little better. What about you, brother?
I think it was ice cream.
Ice
I'm not
cream?
gonna lie,
Never
yeah.
can go wrong with ice cream.
Uh,
So let me know your guys' weight class. So we guys coming up. Where can people follow you? You can throw out your Instagram and give yourself a shout out as well.
Cool. I wrestled at 157 this year. Or I wrestled at 150. I went between both, but I wrestled at 157. My Instagram's S Sergio Macias, or S Sergio _ Macias 123.
I wrestled 113 this year, and Instagram Richie Sonori 15.
Heck yeah. Well, we're going to interview some more of your guys, but thank you guys for being here.
Of course.
Thank you.
So you're in a dark alley and you have Tim, because Tim won the last battle for questions.
Sorry.
You versus Tim. Who walks out of the dark alley in a wrestling match?
Tim.
And he's going to be watching this, so he might show up in the room. And I've seen how dangerous that dude
you know
is.
what? TV's got that.
TV got that?
TV's a big guy.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got nothing against him. Yeah.
So, and I want to start off with that because Tim's such a big leader in the wrestling community in Arizona.
Right.
What's that been like, kind of having him in the room, kind of being a mentor in a way?
You know, it's pretty cool. I mean, he gets us extra practices, and he takes time with us. Like in the mornings before school, he has little practices for us that we wake up extra early. Come there, spend an hour, working on little things. And,
Yeah.
He takes his time with us. Like we can tell he cares about us, and he doesn't take no crap from anybody.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I like that mindset, bro.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. He goes over the fundamentals with us, that way we know what we're doing. He takes the time out of the day, the morning practices he does, and then sometimes after practice he'll talk to us about what to do before matches and how to get ready, mentally prepare. That way you're not going out there scared.
Yeah.
And
he's retired too. He doesn't have to spend his time.
Yeah. I mean, he's a legend. He's already in the Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
he should be on the beach, in Rocky Point, enjoying his retirement. But he's
Yeah, this is better than being in Rocky Point, right? The podcast right now.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And he's he spends his time, especially during wrestling season, with us. Every single day he comes in the room, checks him up on us. He's always there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes him a legend.
Right.
Because he's there for you guys.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest lesson you guys learned, not in the wrestling room, but in life from Paul and Tim? Because, man, they're the best dynamic duo in the game right now. You guys are wearing the four-peat, man.
Right.
There's not a lot of schools to do that. You guys are creating the Sahuarita dynasty right now.
Yeah, we got a pretty good thing going on right now. One thing I did learn from TV was, how to...
So that's his nickname, TV?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
That's awesome.
Yeah, we call him TV.
What's Paul's nickname?
Just Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Uh,
You'll find us around at wrestling tournaments. You'll hear us yelling Paul out
Yeah.
loud, from across the gym. You'll find him. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But one thing I feel like he taught me personally was just especially with mindset in life. Whenever you're facing new challenges or obstacles, just go with the flow. Just take it one step at a time. Nothing to lose. Just give it your all. Yeah.
Keep on flowing.
Yeah, just have fun with it. You
Yeah.
got nothing to worry about. At the end of the day, one big thing they tell us at the end of the day, you got a home to go to, you got a family to love you still. Yeah, nothing to lose.
Bro, I'm going to tell you that. If you keep that mindset by the time you're our age and beyond that, you'll be miles ahead of anyone right now.
Yeah,
The mindset that, if you keep that in your mindset, 'cause I hope you mean what you say.
I do.
That's the mindset to win life right there.
Yeah.
That's incredible that you have a mentor like that teaching you that.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Lucky.
I think my biggest takeaway is like not to give up and to be you got to be like the more physical person out there.
I can tell.
Your goal your goal is to like go out there and you want to mentally break that person so they don't want to wrestle anymore.
Yeah. Bro, I fucking love it. No wonder you guys got 4, bro.
Yeah, you got to go out there and like you got to want to win the match.
Yeah.
That's why like mentally preparing before you go out there, because every match is the same. Everyone's just a person. Like it doesn't matter who he is, 4-time state champ, state runner-up. They're all people. At the end of the day, anyone is beatable.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you go out there, ready to wrestle, break them.
Yeah. See, I took that mindset to coaching baseball. Parents didn't like that much. No.
It's different. It's hard to.
Well, that's a mindset. That's what winners are made of, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went to Western Oregon my freshman year of college. Coach Kellen Walker. I still have PTSD from that dude.
Really?
Because I'll tell you the story about this, and it made everything I went through in college easier. It's like we just lost. We were ranked top 20 in the nation, and we lose to like a JUCO in the fall. And it's 4:30 in the morning, and I start hearing this. Someone banging on my door, and it's Kellen Walker, and I thought I was getting cut for a second.
Yeah.
He's like, get your gym stuff on. Crap. So I put my gym stuff on. We go in the gym. It literally looks like someone's dog died. Everybody knew what was going to happen but the freshman. He ran us from 4:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. But you think about that it never happened again. But after that, you come out mentally tougher because anything else you go through, it's not going to suck that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it relates. And I want to go into your guys' seasons now because you had a lot of success this year.
I did, yeah. Compared to my previous years, freshman year, I did pretty good. You know, I took second at state freshman year, so
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Third year, I kind of, there's a lot of ups and downs. I ended up taking third. It was a little bit of a rough year for me.
Let's go into that because normally, like the mindset I've seen with people, once they get second, they're thinking like, I'm there now.
Yeah.
Especially like I'm gonna be a state champion now. What happened and what were the ups and downs that you went through your sophomore year, kind of taking a step back after your freshman year?
Well, one thing I did deal with both freshman and sophomore year was I broke my elbow.
Oh shit.
So I had to come back from, a surgery, 2 casts, build my way back up in the weight room all day, in the wrestling room, just trying to get back to where I was and then, excel from that.
Yeah.
And then, that took a couple months out of the year, but
Let me ask you this: how much stronger you think you got from those moments?
so much stronger. It also made me realize, like, this sport or just anything in life can be taken away at any moment.
Yeah.
And luckily, I've been, pretty lucky to made my way back from those challenges. And,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it paid off.
Yeah, you know who Alex Vazquez, right? The UFC.
Yeah.
You
won the belt back.
Did you hear what he said in his post interview? Right.
I did not.
Adversity is a privilege, because you always come back. There's always something good coming out of it because you come back stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. So you go into your junior year now. Tell us what happened.
I don't know. I just let things fly. I mean, I had ups and downs still this year, but it's just getting through those, right?
Yeah.
It's just just.
Did
keep
you have
pressing.
this year? Do you think you had a low point at all, or was it kind of still smooth sailing? Because you won state, so it could have
Right.
been.
No,
But was there a point where you're like, oh shoot, this might not be going the way I thought it was?
Definitely. There was like a tournament too where I didn't get the outcome I wanted, or I had a couple losses back to back that it just kind of affected me a bit. But wake up the next morning like it's a new day. You can dwell on it that day, but once you're back at practice on Monday, it's time to keep going. Worry about that next meet, that next tournament, that next match. It's just one match at a time, 1 minute, one opponent at a time, and just you can't let it bring you down for too long. And so I didn't. And I just try to move on from it as quick as I can.
So how are you still staying motivated, already reaching the top? What's keeping you going?
It's a big accomplishment winning state, but it's time to move on. Got bigger and better things to do. Keep grinding. I just want to get better.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing to seeing yourself get better at the sport.
So let's go on to your season a little bit, because you had a lot of success, but I almost think sometimes getting second is the biggest motivation you can ever do.
Yeah.
And you got second. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my sophomore year. I ended up taking second. It was to a kid like Gabriel, my brother, the 4-time has beat a
Yeah.
bunch of times. So it was like pressure on me to be able to beat the guy that he would beat, but
Yeah.
didn't come out with it. But at the end of the day, like that was one match. I still got 2 years of high school. I need to go out there and like get my job done so I could win the next 2.
Yeah.
A big thing was like I was not strong enough for my weight. I wrestled 165 last year,
Oh shit.
and those kids were big.
Yeah.
So I had to wrestle, like, I had to tire them out, and then I'd, like, be able to win. My semis match at state, I wrestled this big old guy. He's coming out there, he's whooping my ass. The blast double. I'm down 8-1 in the first period. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Laying on bottom, what am I going to do? I look over, Paul and one of our other coaches, Ralph. Ralph was a big help to me. Just sitting there, like, they're like you got to do this, like, this is on you. So I had to push through, ended up getting out, scoring some points, started bringing the match closer. The end of the match, he didn't have the stamina I did.
Oh shoot.
So
you came back from the first period.
Yeah.
8-1. You came back from that.
yeah,
What was the final score?
I ended up pinning him.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I got on top. Half.
What's that adrenaline rush like? Because
It
you're
was-
like here, like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I'm gonna have to wrestle for third now.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, like, oh, I get to scrap with the state champion now.
Yeah, that was it was a big one. It was probably the only match I've ever celebrated in my life. Like when I was little, like of course like everyone little celebrate the matches, but like it's been getting like it's just another match, don't celebrate.
Yeah.
This one I was down, like laying on bottom, I'm like it's over. Like I started scoring some points, so I'm like, all right, like I'm back in this. I gotta keep working.
Yeah.
Ended up pinning him. I jumped up, I was clapping, I was celebrating, I was yelling. Went over, hugged Paul, hugged Ralph. Ralph conditions us hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's no joke. He's like,
Dude, I gotta figure out what you guys are doing for conditioning there, because
It's crazy.
yeah, conditioned us hard. I thanked him. I was like, this is because of you. Like, if you didn't do this to us, like, all those times, I wouldn't be, like, here today.
yeah.
So, it's just, like, you're always in the match. Even if you're down, you still got a chance. Like, don't ever give up.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Hey, you guys are basically leaders for your age group, man. Your guys' mindsets are so advanced, and I really think it has a lot to do with wrestling. And I want to thank you both for coming. One thing I do want to ask, what's the funniest song you've listened to before a match? Like, guilty pleasure song. Like, you would pray to God no one sees you listening to that.
It's probably some like white girl music.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably the best.
We
to
listen
do
to a
before
lot of that
match.
in the
Yeah.
restroom too. Like,
Taylor
during
Swift?
practice,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Every
Oh my
Just to
goodness.
get you moving, you gotta move to the
Yeah.
music. It's
Especially
like,
when we're all cutting weight.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
miserable. We have that blasting in the restroom from the minute we start to the minute we end.
yeah, it's
Oh,
happy. You gotta
shoot.
beat. Just keep your head up.
Yeah, smiling. Joint suffering is the best suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing that keeps us going.
That's awesome, guys. I'm looking forward to what you guys are doing. Like I said, you guys are creating a dynasty. And we'll be right back with 2 more athletes right after the sponsorship break.
We are Jet Sports Training, where our mission is to cultivate champions. This is where athletes come to get faster, and everyday people come to change their lives. This is not a gym, but a community. Come get jetted.
About to take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lot of y'all doubted on me. Now they like, wow, look how far you legendary like all my idols. Coming for it all and I can't wait. Success just called and I got me a date. So I grab my ambitions and I'm on my way. Cross the wrong line and it's bad news. Might get burnt like a candle. We too hot to handle. World at my feet like a sandal. I only move when I plan to. Your moves could get canceled.
back with 2 more state champions. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and let them know where you're going to school next year?
My name is Daniel Guerrero. I'm going to Eastern Oregon next year.
My name is Gabriel Gallardo. I'll be attending North Dakota State University.
Awesome. So let's go into that. What made you guys pick those schools? And I'm going to tell you this. It's going to rain like crazy in Oregon, my dude.
So I went up on a couple of
Brother,
visits.
you want to get a little closer to the mic, too, brother?
I went up on a couple of visits before I chose my school, like a couple of different schools, and what like really stood out was that it seemed like they wanted me more than the other schools. Like they had a big whiteboard and my name was at the top of it, and
Heck
that's like I was the kid that they wanted the most, and they made that very clear.
Awesome, man.
My journey to finding my school it was like longer, a little more drawn out.
Yeah. Did you have a couple more offers as well, or was it?
I had a handful. I think I was up towards like 8.
Jesus Christ, nice. I mean, you're a 4-timer, so of course, right?
Yeah.
2 for every state championships.
I wish. Yeah. So I took my visits to North Dakota State, and it wasn't apparent that they wanted me. I was just one of the guys that they would have been happy to have, and then went around the country, went down to Florida, New Mexico, Colorado, a little further in Arizona, like all over the U.S. to see where I wanted to be, and I was just like, you know what, like I'm just gonna wait, I'm gonna put it off, and I put it off for like a month, and then I was wrestling one day at practice, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm gonna call coach, and I called up Coach Obi and said, hey, like any news, like you guys got any scholarship money you can offer? And he was like, actually, you know, we wanted to talk about that. And he made an offer on the phone, and I was like, heck yeah, and I jumped on it. So it took a little while to get where I was, and I was just like, you know what, this is the place. I'm gonna be a Bison.
Yeah, this is home.
Yeah.
So looking back at your guys' journey, what's one super high moment and one moment where you felt like you had to get off from being on your back? Put you guys on the spot a little bit too.
One super high moment.
Other than winning the state championships, because that's just like an obvious one. Could be like a match where you go like double overtime where you had to grit it out or something crazy like that.
I think super high, even though you said not to. My first,
Oh yeah, four times.
My first title.
Yeah.
I was on top of the world. I thought I was like God's greatest creation.
Yeah.
And then, you know, on the flip side, like I think my first loss in high school, my freshman year, we were down in New Mexico and I got pinned in 17 seconds. Remember that?
Jeez.
God, it was rough.
It happens.
And that was kind of my like wake up. That was my reality check. I went 52-1 that year, and my only loss was out of state. So I was down here, and it like pushed me to go.
Were you wrestling when you guys had to wear the mask or whatever?
That's a freshman year.
No, that was the 8th grade year.
Okay. I was doing some. I was
You
gonna.
were freshman year too.
It was only in New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we went to New Mexico our freshman year, and they were still doing the mask thing. But
How the hell? Like how crazy was that shit? Like that felt.
we put it on our chin.
Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
so,
I mean, like you're basically sweating on a dude, and
yeah, we had a couple guys that like actually wore it, and they were dying.
That's like training elevation at that point.
Mhm.
So let's go with you, brother. Think of one moment, and then I'll ask you guys after that. What's your toughest match ever?
I mean, you said not to say state titles.
You can say state title.
My first one, I went into OT.
Okay, there we go. You could have just started off with that, dog.
Oh, you said no state titles.
Yeah, we could have said like I went to OT in the state championships.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that. What are you thinking at that point? Because I've never been in a situation like that. Like in baseball, extra innings. It's not like I can't control everything.
Yeah.
What's it like being OT in that state champion moment? Like it's do or die at that point.
It's like you can't really hear the crowd, and it's just like you're just
Tunnel vision,
watching.
kinda?
Yeah, pretty much. And then,
Do you feel yourself being nervous? Kind of like thinking
like once I step on the mat, I don't get nervous. Like after that, like
I know you're a
shake out.
badass, bro.
Yeah. For the most part, I was tired.
Tired?
You hear yourself breathing. You're like, but you also know that the other person's tired too.
Yeah.
So you just gotta want it more.
How did you win it? Just points, takedown,
I
double
took
leg?
him down. Yeah.
What you hit him with?
I think high C, and then finished on the mat.
Oh shit!
It's crazy. You can see the crowd in the back where like all our families are.
Oh, do they go crazy?
Yeah,
Dude.
it's fun.
So my dad, Augie Romero, and my uncle Mike Romero, really well known in the wrestling world, and we went to the Iowa, we went to the what do you call them? Olympic trials in Iowa in 2012,
Nice.
and there was a triple overtime match in the finals. I can't remember who it was, but that was the first time I ever felt like the crowd, like the roof lifted off the place.
Yeah.
And like that, I mean, those experiences are crazy. Just as a fan, I can't imagine what it was like being the one that's causing it, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, what do you guys, looking back at your high school career, what adjustments are you guys gonna make going to your college career? Because coming from me, like the jump from high school baseball to college baseball, it's like a whole nother world. You're just like, for me, I was just another guy out there.
Yeah.
So, what adjustments are you making, or if any, or what's kind of like the mindset going into college?
I think for me especially, that reality check of like, I'm no longer one of the best guys in the state, one of the best guys, I wouldn't say nationwide, but someone that can wrestle at that caliber. I go from being way up here to, I'm just another guy at the Division one level. So lots of talent everywhere. I'm gonna have to go back to square one, be that freshman, and be that greenie.
Yeah.
And grind. Go back to the grind and the working.
I guarantee you grind already, bro. Freaking 4 times. You got to grind a little to get 4 in your four rings.
Got to grind a little harder.
Yeah. Next time I have you on the show, you got to bring all 4 rings and show it off, brother.
I will.
And then you get like the other 4 with college too.
Dude, I have 8 from for the 4 state titles and then the 4 team titles.
Shit, I didn't even think about that. All right, next time you come, you got to get all 4, brother.
I'll make sure.
So now you only got to get 2 national championships to finish your hands.
At that point, you might as well shoot for 4,
Yeah. I mean, just
sky's the limit.
make them earrings or some shit. That way, when you tell your girlfriend, look, we can't get married now, I already got too many rings. Yeah. And going to you, brother, what's your mindset going to college?
I feel like it's pretty much like work ethic. Like when you're down here, you have your parents to like tell you to push yourself, and like you have your teammates. And up there, it's just yourself. I mean, you still have your teammates and your coaches to tell you to push yourself, but that only goes so far. You gotta want it. Yeah, you gotta want it.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna finish off with a funny question. I'm gonna ask you guys this: who's your guys' favorite wrestler right now, or it could be MMA fighter as well? Don't hurt yourself thinking too much. I'm kidding. Halftime. Who's your pick?
I like John Jones, but everybody likes John Jones.
All right. We'll do John Jones. So TV, Tim, like I said, he's the one winning all the questions right now. And John peaked TV, like abs and everything. You're like, oh, that dude's scary at that point. And John Jones are going at it, and we'll do an actual MMA match. Who walks out? Who wins?
TV.
TV.
Tim on top.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. TV will be the first guy to beat John Jones. All right, we'll be right back after these sponsorship breaks.
We are Jet Sports Training, where our mission is to cultivate champions. This is where athletes come to get faster, and everyday people come to change their lives. This is not a gym, but a community. Come get jetted.
About to take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lot of y'all doubted on me. Now they like, wow, look how far you legendary like all my idols. Coming for it all and I can't wait. Success just called and I got me a date. So I grab my ambitions and I'm on my way. Cross the wrong line and it's bad news. Might get burnt like a candle. We too hot to handle. World at my feet like a sandal. I only move when I plan to. Your moves could get canceled.
probably the best coach in the state right now, creating this dynasty. Coach Ball, how you doing, brother?
Good, good. How are you?
All right. Let me ask this. What are you feeding these kids, bro? Because every one of them have, like, this mindset that's incredible.
We've had them for a few years.
Yeah, because you had a couple guys since they were in fifth grade. Fifth grade.
Yeah, Richie and Sergio and Nate since they were in fifth grade. We talk about a lot of mental training. We talk about
Let's hear it, man. Because I want to learn some. Like, I'm stepping on the mat the first time since your guy pinned me in a cradle and freaking popped my shoulder. So I hope it's not a bad omen having you out being, what, like 15 days out now?
yeah.
But, like, what do you teach these guys? Like, take me in, like, I'm day one. What are you going to do to teach me how that Sahuarita mindset?
Well, I mean, we want to score first. That's always the first objective, is trying to get the first points on the board. And then once we do that, we're just trying to pour it on and trying to break people mentally. And even if we can't score more points, we're still trying to be more physical than you. Trying to be the first one back to the center of the circle when we go out of bounds. Trying to be the aggressor, trying to be in your face. And we just kind of preach that every single day, every practice. And, once you do that, it just kind of turns into a habit where the kids just pick it up. And then the first day guys, they're kind of looking around and thinking oh, this is normal. This is how we're supposed to do it. And then we go to competitions and have some success. And our first year guys have some success, and they kind of see we are a little bit different.
Yeah.
We do things a little bit differently. We train a little bit differently.
Because the culture was completely different when you got there.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that first year like? Because I'm going to pick your brain a little bit too, because I just got done with my first year coaching, and I went in guns blazing. Like, I'm just going to be the way I know it needs to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of backlash for it because it's out of the ordinary. Did you deal with some of those things your first year at Sahuarita?
I was teaching at Sahuarita Middle School, and I ran into a lot, like through the district and through coaching with parents and kids. We've never done that before. We've never done those things before. We've never done it that way. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why we haven't been very good.
Yeah.
And we're trying to change it, and so these are the things that we're going to have to do.
What did you change? Like, was it being more accountability, changes in the way practice was structured? Because, like, you went from being your first year in last place to second, now a dynasty.
That first year was a lot of accountability. There were kids that kind of ran the program themselves, and they got to do things. They got to do what they wanted. They got to show up when they wanted, work hard when they wanted, or when they felt good. And I just started kind of preaching to the kids that we're going to do things the right way every single day, and we're going to compete every single day, and it doesn't matter whether you feel good or not, because once we go out and wrestle other people, they don't care if you feel good. They don't care if you got a boo-boo. They don't care if you got an owie. They don't care if you're
in wrestling, if they find out, they're going to go after that. If it's a broken arm, they're going to try to twist that arm even more.
Yeah, and they don't care if your girlfriend broke up with you that day. They don't care if your parents yelled at you. Like, that stuff doesn't matter. So once we get in the door of the wrestling room, that stuff, you got to let that go and be able to train and be disciplined enough to do what we need to do to accomplish our goals. Yeah. And it was hard at first. It was hard for the first few years. It's still, we have a battle. Like, we have a new group of kids that are in our room now from our middle school programs, and they kind of see the success. And the older guys can mess around a little bit, and the younger guys think that,
well, they've earned their stripes.
Right. They've earned their stripes. So the younger guys are like, oh, like, this is what we do. Like, we can play spike ball with these guys. We can play dodgeball before practice. But they're going to – so, it's a little lax right now because it's springtime and summertime, but they're going to figure out soon enough and that's not how it goes. And like you said, those guys have earned their stripes. So they have earned themselves a little bit of that.
And they just seem like they're not fazed by anything, man. Like, when that one of your guys was talking about when he broke his elbow, it didn't even look like the way he's talking about it. It's just like, okay, cool. What's next?
Yeah, he actually did it. Sebs did it twice.
He broke his elbow twice?
He got tweaked again after the first time. He had the surgery, had the screw put in, and then we went to Iowa. That was his freshman year. He finished the season, and then we went to Iowa, and it got banged up again. Had to take him to urgent care in Iowa, in Cedar Falls.
Dang.
So, yeah, they've all been through some stuff, and we just kind of preach that none of that stuff matters. Like, as we're moving forward, you guys are going to get tougher, and you're going to get better, and you're just going to keep going forward. And all that stuff is just kind of distractions. Like once we get in the door, that stuff's done with, and we got to focus on what we need to focus on. So they're pretty good about that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. One thing they did talk about how cool it is having TB, your dad. What's the lessons you've learned from being an assistant coach, now turning into a dynasty head coach? What are the core values you learned from him that you installed in the program today?
There's a few for me. Like the biggest one, and I feel like the biggest lessons that I learned from him were like growing up, car rides home. Those always stick out.
Those can be like the scariest but coolest ones.
They were he was really good, man. I've had other coaches who coached their kid talk about how great he was with me, and come up and tell me that your dad did a great job. He was really, and Coach Lopez at Pueblo, he said that like kind of his job was to, if my dad was getting on me, his job was to pull my dad back and him kind of take the reins over. So my dad just did a great job, and Coach Lopez really helped him out with that growing up because I was an idiot.
Wait, were you at Pueblo?
Yeah.
You're a warrior.
Wrestled at Pueblo. Yep.
Oh shoot! How many? What's your? I didn't look at this time, but what was your record? Talk a little bit about your high school career.
So I wrestled at Pueblo for 2001 to 2005. I was 166 and 14 in 4 years.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I mean, I just remember stuff like that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so that was like I said, my dad did a great job, but I think the thing that sticks out the most, like the biggest lesson that I got from him was learn how to play the game.
Yeah. And
just in life, in school, in sports, learn how to play the game, learn how to do things and make it work out to your advantage. Like, like in school, if your teacher wants your work done a certain way, you do it that way. Figure out how they want it done, do it that way every single time.
Yeah.
If you got a different teacher, they want it done another way, okay, you figure that out and do it that way every single time.
Yeah, live by the standards or improve the standards.
They're the ones in charge, so you got to kind of figure out how to please them. And the same thing with your coaches. Coach wants our drilling is supposed to be this way. This is how they showed us to do it. We're going to do it that way every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same like in work, the same thing. My boss wants things done a certain way. We're going to do it a certain way. Whatever boss says, that's what we're going to do. And that was like the biggest thing growing up. Learn how to play the game. That's the one that probably sticks out the most.
That's incredible, man. I mean, it prepares you for life. Like I kept telling your guys, like you're in a sport that's gonna get you ready for life, because life is just like wrestling. Someone's always gonna be trying to knock you down, take you down on your feet, and keep you down.
Yeah,
but you just gotta get back up. One thing I did want to ask you, I want to go back a little bit because, like I said, being a first-year coach, I want to pick your brain because, like I said, you got two dynasties basically at Ironwood and now at Sahuarita. How did you get the kids to trust your different mindset going in your first couple years? Because I can talk about that my senior year at high school, having Mark Morris, who's, in my opinion, the best coach Tucson High's probably had in years. I shouldn't say that. Oscar Romero's my uncle, which is probably the best coach ever, but he's probably one of the best coaches in Arizona right now. It was hard because the mindset was different. O did a really good job, but Morris came in guns blazing. Like, you couldn't talk back. If you're late, he'd send you home, or you do that thing where he's like, he would make the whole team run, and you'd just be that one dude watching your team run. And it was hard because, like, not the seniors didn't play. Not a lot of people developed that trust, but you saw by the end of the year he got everyone to buy in. Mm-hmm. How did you get everyone to buy in is something that's probably 100% different than what they were doing before.
Yeah, there was a few things, man. Like one of the things I did the first year was I'd lock the door. If practice starts at 3:50, the door's locked at 3:50, and if you're late, don't knock on the door. So that was just kind of a lesson to teach the kids. Like, you're expected to be here on time, and in the room on time, ready to go on time. And if you're not, don't bother.
See you.
Right, and that came with a whole set of things, because if you weren't at practice, you weren't going to wrestle. You weren't going to compete that week if you weren't at practice. So and we're just trying to hold the kids accountable for stuff like that. And that was the first thing I did. And then, but just that first year was just a whole lot of trial and error, where I was trying to fix things, trying to change the culture, and not necessarily just because like it wasn't terrible, but we wanted to do things differently. And I knew my dad had developed a formula, coaching and doing things at other places and having success, and I just kind of wanted to follow that and put my own stamp on it too, but at the same time not stray too far from it because we know that it works.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what's next, man? How do you keep your guys motivated? Because I remember watching a documentary on Dan Gable. He was at 9 national championships in a row, and he wore those stupid shirts saying 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he talked about how all his guys, it was just they didn't feel like they had to work hard. That was already expected they were going to win. How are you making sure your guys stay motivated? Because my uncle Mike Romero always says you're only a winner or a champion for that 1 second, because you always got a next match.
And we're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talk about stuff probably. I mean, there's some practice where I'm just like, all right, get a break, get out of here. You guys go home. We're done.
Oh, that's a big thing too.
But there's other times where I'm like, all right, have a seat because we're gonna have a talk and try to figure it out. And we make goal sheets for all the kids and ask for their individual goals. I ask for their team goals. There's season goals for the upcoming season. Their career goals for their entire career while they're at Sahuarita. And I once we get those done, I post them up in the wrestling room. We've got a bulletin board up there, and I just staple them up there so that I'm like, hey, you tell me you want to be a 2-time state champ, and you're over here not doing your double legs.
You're just holding them accountable because you saw like that's what they're saying they want to be. You better step up and get to that point.
And I had a conversation today with our football coach, kind of the same deal because they just had their postseason meetings, and the first time I got trapped in the office, like they were having a meeting and I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of sat in and paid attention to what they were doing. It's similar to what we do. Ours is a little less formal. They had all their coaches in there, but it's the same thing. Like you're telling me, he says, you're telling me you want to be the leading rusher in Sahuarita history, and you're fumbling the ball on handoffs because you're not paying attention to what we're doing in the backfield, right? Like, are you holding yourself to that standard or not? And it makes it easier because the kids say it. Like, if you tell me you want to be a 2-time state champ, I didn't put that onus on you. You did it. You told me that's what you wanted, so I'm going to hold you to that. But if I'm the one to come and tell you like, hey, you're going to be a 2-time state champ, then it's more on me than I don't really know if that's really what you want.
Yeah.
But if you tell me what you want and you write down what you want and it's posted what you want and those are public, like everybody, there's a lot of people that go in our room, and so it's public. Like people can see those goals.
Yeah.
They want to see where people.
You got it like on a board or something like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, stapled up there, and with that goes your 5 best offensive moves, your 5 best defensive moves, your setups to those moves, so that you kind of have a script. If coach is dealing with something or someone else, we're not stepping up and taking care of practice at the beginning. You've got a script to follow every practice. The first half hours is scripted. We're doing. I don't want to give all that stuff away.
Yeah, don't give it away. We'll just say something that wins.
Certain scripted moves that you're doing and you're hitting every single day, so that it becomes muscle memory when we get in tight situations and overtime matches.
Oh man, one of your guys was talking about he went double overtime when he won state, and another one was talking about how he was down 8-1 the first period and came back and won
9-1. Don't let him
9-1.
That's Nate. Yeah, he was.
What were you thinking as a coach right there? Like, honestly, were you thinking, oh man, this is gonna be a tough one to get back, or you're just like, oh, he got it?
Well, Nate is offensively challenged. He doesn't score a ton of points, so
being that big and strong, he doesn't score. Dude, he walked in like I made a joke. I'm like, guys, just to let you know, he's not on steroids.
He's bigger. He's much bigger now than he was. He wrestled 65 for us, but he's probably like 190 now.
Oh shit!
But yeah, I mean, he's offensively challenged. That's the nice way to put it. But he's turned himself into a pretty good wrestler. He's smart and figures out a way to win.
Yeah.
And in that match, he ended up tying it up 9-9, and then put himself ahead 11-9 and got a pin with like 2 seconds left.
Yeah.
So I mean, he figures out a way to do it.
Matches like that, is it a better feeling when they win than say someone winning a state champion? We see them like they're basically on ground zero and come back and win somehow.
It's different. Like for him, and he's never celebrated a win. Never.
You told me about that. He celebrated like crazy.
Never once. He never wins a match. No celebration. But he won that one, and he was fired up. It was great. He
That's awesome.
Marched around the mat. It was awesome, and so to see that moment for him was great. Whether it was a state championship match or not, it was just great. But then someone like Danny, just business as usual. And Danny very rarely celebrates anything. And he won his second state title, and he's fixing his hair, getting ready for his picture. So like, not a big deal, kind of expected for him. But then on the other side, like Nate's win in the semifinals to put him into the finals was huge.
Yeah.
And not to take away from Danny's accomplishment, it's just a little bit different for everybody.
Everyone got their highs and got their so everyone's Super Bowl is different, and that's just kind of how it goes with that.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man. All right, so let me ask you this: did you ever see my dad in the wrestling room when you were at Pueblo?
Yeah, he would come in and check on us.
Okay, would you ever wrestle with your guys? Can say
not that I remember.
I want to see if I can get a funny story out of that.
Well, I remember, like, when I was a kid, I remember going over to the Tucson High room, I don't know, for whatever reason, and I remember your dad being in there with his black Adidas with the red bottoms.
Yep.
Everybody had those shoes. It was like the thing, and I remember, I was like 10 years old, and I was like, oh yeah, that coach has those shoes. Like, he must be pretty good. They just in there beating kids up.
Oh shoot, yeah, that's been the cool thing, like being back in jiu-jitsu. Kind of like it's like I left for 5 years for baseball and I come back and go straight into jiu-jitsu. It's just like you would think, because my dad was my baseball coach my whole life. Now he's my wrestling and jiu-jitsu coach, and then being around Mike again, it's like back to normal almost. Yep. So let me ask you this, brother, because I'm taking the bet. So I don't know if you heard me talking to your guys. I asked them who would win in a fist fight, you or your dad. Let me change this up now. Who wins in a fist fight now? Because one of your guys asked this, John Jones or your dad at his peak. Then I'm gonna ask you another funny one after this.
Well, is this steroids and cocaine, John Jones? Because
which one's dangerous? You think?
Guys, I mean, he beat the best guys in the world.
I know. You heard about how, with Gusterson. He didn't even train. He blacked out that Wednesday and had to make weight that Friday.
Well, the funny line that sticks out to me is he talks about him and Cormier were talking smack back and forth to each other.
Like, I beat you after a week of freaking.
Yeah, I beat you after a week of cocaine and hookers or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like, he's so incredibly gifted. And
yeah, let me ask. We'll end with this. Who you got? Tom Aspinall or John Jones?
I would love for Aspinall to win. And it's hard because, like, I watch the UFC.
He's a wrestler, bro.
And usually my default is, that guy's a wrestler, I'm going for him.
Yeah.
And that's just like kind of how wrestlers are, no matter what. Like your dad being my principal at Pueblo. Like, oh, he's a wrestler. I know he's got my back. Like, no problem.
It's like I keep going back to. It's a whole mindset that prepares you for life.
And it's just like a culture thing. So like, it's hard to go against John Jones because of the wrestling thing. But I don't know, like all his extracurricular stuff. So it always gets brought up, and there's always something going on.
Well, do you think he really can be considered the best in the world after he used PEDs?
In my opinion, no.
Yeah, that's why I get irritated, because like you look at someone like A-Rod in baseball, Barry Bonds didn't even test.
Yep, and I don't know, like people want to have that argument, and I'm like, you can't, like, the whole thing's invalidated to me because of that.
Who's your number one? 'Cause I got GSP.
Oh,
because Anderson stayed in a little bit too long.
Yeah, but Anderson's peak was.
Dude, the Forrest Griffin one where he was just like
toying with people. But that's also what got him caught when he ends up getting
Chris Weidman.
Yeah,
by a wrestler.
Yeah, and like again, default, like I'm going for Weidman, even though Silva was so great. It's just always going for Weidman. Just by default, I'm going for wrestlers, but it's hard to go for Jones. But prime TB with the mullet, the ladies.
Oh, your dad had a mullet?
The ladies, man. Oh my
gosh.
From what I hear.
No, that's awesome, and I appreciate you bringing your guys, and man, just keep developing these kids, because they're becoming state champions, but they're also becoming state champions in life. And like I told your guys, they're becoming leaders in the community, because not a lot of people got the mindset that you're giving these kids, and I appreciate everything you're doing for them, and I appreciate you being our very first show, brother.
Yeah, of course, appreciate it. Thanks for having us. I was fired up, and we ended up getting more kids here than I thought we could.
Dude, that was awesome. Let me ask you this: how can the Jet community, support Sahuarita wrestling? You guys have like a fundraisers coming up or anything like that?
I think it's October 11th. We're gonna have a golf tournament down in Sahuarita, at Green Haven Golf Club.
Yeah.
Down in Green Valley, and then, we've got like a crowdfunding text
Yeah.
message fundraiser that we do every winter.
Oh, with the
During our
email, the
season.
20 emails or whatever like that.
Yeah, but like I don't know, just like in collaboration with anything we did with Elizabeth. Elizabeth came down with one of our female wrestlers last spring, and we did an all girls wrestling camp.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was, and it was free. It was just for donations. We were trying to help both of them get their spring and summer travel paid for at least a little bit. And Ellie came down, and Mia was there, and they did like a little just all girls clinic, which was really cool. And then the girl who's at Lehigh, she's like world champ. She's in the
Audrey Ramirez.
Audrey.
Yeah.
Audrey Jimenez.
Audrey, scary, bro.
Audrey showed up, and she's just, I don't know her very well, but I mean, she wasn't one of the clinicians. She just came in and was like, no ego, just come in and I can learn. And she just started working with everybody and helping people. And then we're doing her own thing with different kids. So, I mean, just in the community like that, the wrestling community is just,
It's a tight community, man.
It's just great.
That's awesome, man. But like I said, thank you for being here. Thank you guys. Like I said, I was gonna wait till the very end for a grand finale. This podcast, this show, this brand new one is called T-City Underdogs. At the end of the day, we're always trying to come back from something, and that's exactly what we're doing. Thank you guys. We got Pima softball coming in next. We'll see you guys at the next show. Thank you, buddy.